Hello, this is Mike Rosario from innovativeteams.net with another tutorial exploring how we use Google Cloud Functions. You can connect with my content at innovativeteams.net. Love exploring software craftsmanship, all things with agile innovation, AI tools, and strategy. You can also connect with our awesome Google community at googledevcentralflorida.com. We're all very passionate about helping you as maybe an engineer who's just starting, feel empowered in the industry. We're excited for the seasoned enterprise architect to, maybe learn a new tactic or strategy. You're very welcome in our community. Please join us on Discord, Google Devs, centralflorida.com. The Discord is pretty chill and would love to see you there. Back in the day, we, might have gotten like our own Linux server and rented that, from a provider. And then we had to deal with all the challenges of keeping that server up to date and maybe the operating system patches and security vulnerabilities and locking it down and all that stuff. That's a lot of toil. So Google Cloud Functions, especially, brings a fully managed experience to you. You bring Python, Node.js, Go language, you get auto scaling features, and you don't have to worry about the lower level toil and management of owning that server, right? And also just let's underscore the economics of that too. So when you have to own the machine, you're getting charged for the machine, by default for the whole month, right? So wouldn't it be cool if you could just be connected to compute that's related to when the compute is used? And Cloud Functions very much fits into that bucket. You only get charged when the function runs. That's a very cool model. In general, I want to kind of celebrate my personal cost efficiency also with Google Cloud. My wife doesn't give me a big budget for my personal cloud projects. So, I use Cloud Run a lot, and I find that it's really, really cost effective as I'm building out my experiments. Google Cloud Functions is just one of those tools in that toolkit where you get millions of invocations per month, and again, you pay very little. For a lot of startups, Google Firestore provides a Node SQL document store that's, again, super cost effective. So just theme here is if you're concerned about doing exploring cloud computing and it breaking the bank, I'm just here to call out that don't be afraid of that. Cost should not be the thing that scares you off. From a concept point of view, we're going to talk about how a cloud function gets triggered. We're going to talk about how we store that data. So in this scenario, we're going to trigger a Node.js function using a cloud storage bucket. This uses event arc. You really don't even have to think about that, but generically in Google Cloud, event arc is that connector between things happening and your code. And then we're going to write a little bit of code that stores stuff in storage buckets. If you're not acquainted with Docker containers, that's okay because you're kind of abstracted from having to worry about it anyway. In this tutorial, you'll upload source code. You'll be able to just see that the code is getting built. stored it into a registry, and we're also using Google Cloud Vision AI. This is a really nice and simple API that allows us to kind of present like a JPEG or a PNG to the system. The system reports back what it sees with kind of confidence values. Here's the architecture of what we'll be kind of like exploring today, where we take an input storage bucket. We're connecting that to a Node.js function using Cloud Vision and writing the data to an output bucket. We'll also have a second Cloud function using HTTP, where we'll kind of just check, hey, can we get the data? In general, Cloud Functions can give you several modalities for triggering. You can use HTTP, HTTPS. You can use storage events. You can run time-based functions, like at 6 a.m. I want all my users to get fresh content from my news. That's a scenario that could happen. You can also react to pub sub messages, like from Firestore or maybe as a queue. All these scenarios are possible. So to enjoy this code lab today, please visit innovativeteams.net and look for this blog post, Label Your Images with Google Cloud Functions. So let's jump to my console and do a quick tour. So up here, we're going to actually just start by searching for buckets, because I just want to make sure we start with that. So it looks like these are the buckets associated with this project. I'm feeling good about that. Let's talk about project. I recommend that you create your own little project for your work, so you can kind of like, once you're done with this lab, you can kind of throw all of that stuff away if you'd like. So the concept of a project just helps you stay organized. And again, when you want to learn something but not keep it forever, the project concept helps keep that nice and elegant. Let's say you did want to get your own, virtual machine. You would come here to Compute Engine. You can, go rent a VM and whatnot. You will have to set up billing for yourself, but you're really not going to spend more than $1 for this lab, so don't worry about that. Under Cloud Run, go to Overview. You can see I don't have any. I have like one little thing running here. We'll have additional Cloud Functions showing up here in a bit. So let's go into our console. You can see it's already associated with my my project Rosario Gemini 1. We're going to start off by like making sure that all of the Google Cloud services I need are enabled. So this includes Cloud Functions, Cloud Build, Event Arc, Vision, Storage, Run. Should hopefully see that that worked. I'm going to create a variable called project ID, so that I can, not type and repeat myself later. Going to create our input storage account using Google Cloud Storage Bucket Create. Going to make the output results bucket. Let's see. So we're going to make our vision pipeline here. And I'm going to click here to open up our code editor for these steps. So we are using this kind of like Visual Studio Code-ish editor here. And we're going to create a package.json and our main program. So here I'm going to put in package.json. We're going to also create the index.js. Under package.json, I'm going to populate this code here. And you can see here we have our vision pipeline depending upon the functions framework, vision, and storage. And then under index.js, we're going to kind of populate the code we need there. So in this guy here, we are depending upon all these libraries. Here we instantiate Cloud Vision API, storage, the output bucket. This is the beginning of the process image function. And you can see we're kind of just ignoring things that are not images. We walk up to the input bucket. We ask for Cloud Vision to classify images based on the Google Cloud Storage URI that we have here. A JSON gets returned. There's a little bit of kind of cleanup transformation, but then we just shove all that data into the output bucket and we kind of close. And that's that one. Nice and simple. To get that data back, we're going to have a function called getResult, and that walks up to a named JSON. So let's say it's called fruit.json, right? You can load that particular file, read its content, and return it back to the caller. So very simple HTTP based call there. So with those two things in place, I'm going to go back to the terminal by clicking Open Terminal. At this point, we're going to deploy our first function, and we're using Gen 2, we're using Node.js, we're deploying to Central US. The entry point will be process images, and these guys kind of talk about how we're triggering all of this based on storage containers. If you do want to peek under the hood and see what's going on in this build step, you can. So I did control click on this URL here. And I can kind of like drill in to see like, hey, what's going on. To be honest, don't have to worry about that for this lab. Wanted to make that call out. If you wanted to see how the container image was getting built. Next up, we're going to eventually kind of deal with setting some permissions. When we're creating this cloud function, it will have its, we need to be able to refer to it. So we will have a service account established for it. And then we'll kind of establish a few permission grants based on that. So let's look at that. Looks like everything's kind of looking good so far. So let's go ahead and establish that a service account for that new function. Take a look at what that service account looks like. So you could almost think of this as a service principal or just an identifier, a user identifier associated with this cloud function. With that in hand, we can do some grants where we're going to do Google Cloud Storage Bucket add, a permission so we can talk to that input bucket and also to the output bucket. We're also going to deploy the HTTP get result function. Similar to the last one, uses Node.js. We're in specifying the region. We are positioning the entry point for get result function. It's HTTP. Since this is just a demo, it's unauthenticated. If you're in a real enterprise, you would secure this in a better way. But again, this is just kind of demoware. We'll let that work. So when we test this, we're going to use a image that, this was like us teaching a workshop at UCF at one point with my friend and across there. But we're going to go ahead and now that we got that, now that we have everything deployed, we're going to download that test image here. So I have that sample.png now on my disk there. I'm going to do Google Cloud Storage copy CP, Google Cloud Storage CP sample PNG into the storage bucket. And I'm going to hit enter. So we're going to go reduce this a little bit. Let's look in the storage bucket. Let's see if it's actually working. Go to buckets. Should be able to see our input bucket here. Yep, sample made it all the way over there. Happy about that. And then shouldn't take all that long to process. We may actually already have some results. Yep, we have a sample JSON. And hopefully we see something that says like, hey, there's students there. So it sees chairs, furniture, classroom, class, students. It's 80% sure that it sees some students. It has, yeah, that feels like a win to me. So if we go back to our console, let's do a curl of that result URL. So this will hopefully, oh no, okay. I did not specify the result URL. Let me fix that. Okay, so result URL now is this thing here. This is just the HTTP reference, so we can call our HTTP cloud function. Now I can do this guy. Okay, and I can now see the same data. So that concludes our kind of code lab. If you're really interested in going further and in a more robust way, really invite our community to consider checking out skills.google. It for those who are really looking to get certified, those who are really want to take a deeper dive into this type of content. There's a lot more code labs written by Google and more refined code labs than we do. That will take you further. So refer you to that. With that, hope you have a great one, and thanks for visiting us at innovativeteams.net.